there, Mr. Holcomb here with another episode of The Math Behind the Modules. All right, lesson chapter 5.1, looking for employment. Okie dokie, so if you're looking for a job, where do you find a job? Employment. Okay, so key terms: employment agency, recruitment agency. Those are kind of the same thing. It's a place you go, an employment agency, you go into it and you say, hey, do you have any job openings, and what are they and where are they and how do I apply for them? And they help you to get connected with an employer who has listed their opening at a position opening at their business. And so anyhow, you go into the recruitment agency or employment agency to find these jobs. So the next term is employer paid. So recruitment or employment agencies, just like any other business, are in business to make money. So they're not just there because they're nice guys and gals and say, okay, we'll help you find work and it not cost anything. You have to pay their salaries. They don't work for free. So an employer paid advertisement means just that. If you apply for a job that you find at an employment agency and it's listed as employer paid, it means the person that you're applying to, the position, paid for the job to be listed at this agency. And it will not cost you anything to apply at their business. A fee paid means that the employer is listing these jobs at the employment agency, but is putting it on you to pay to apply. Okay, so maybe they just get bombarded with too many people applying for work and they're not qualified. So just to weed some of them out, someone's not going to apply for a job if they don't think they're going to get it, if it's going to cost them money. Who wants to spend money to get a job, right? So the fee paid is going to just but allow people who are serious about that position. You know, if you think you are qualified for a job, you will pay to try to get that job, because then obviously you have an income and that money will be put to good use. Your fee that you paid gets you the job. Well, that's an applicant paid. So fee paid is paid by the employer. Applicant paid means if I go into an employment agency and apply for a job, I have to pay for the application submission. All right, then there's the resume. A resume, and I couldn't figure out how to put that little accent over the E, but that's not resume. Resume. A resume is something you fill out. It basically gives the employer an idea of who you are, what experience you have, what education you have, and whether or not you have experience in the position they're looking for. So it kind of just gives a snapshot of what your capabilities are. That's a resume. And a W-4 is a form that everybody has to fill out with their employer. And what you do there is you tell the employer how many dependents you have. If you have one child, you might have one dependent, 2 children, 2 dependents, or you might list 0 dependents. And that determines how much money is taken out of each of your paychecks for taxes. So a W-4 helps the employer determine how much money to take from you, so that at the end of the year, you don't owe the government a whole ton of money because the employer didn't take enough out of your paycheck every week. And we'll get into that this chapter. And then benefits. Benefits are other things, they're perks to the job. So you can get a job that pays $50,000 a year with no benefits. What does that mean? Well, you're going to get $50,000 at the end of 1 year. You will have made $50,000 before taxes, before that W-2 takes taxes out of you, and Social Security and all that stuff, medical. So that's what a benefit is. Benefits are the additional things that the employer will offer to entice you to work for them. So rather than just saying, here's $50,000 a year, I'm also going to pay for your dental insurance. I'm also going to pay for your health insurance. I'm also going to have a 401k retirement plan that I will match. If you put $10,000 in it, I will match that up to so many percent. These are benefits. These are additional ways of you making money or saving money besides your salary. Okay, so those are the terms in this chapter. Example 1, Julianne found a job posting on an internet website. She found a job posting on an internet website, okay. And the job pays a yearly salary of 41K. Okay, so 41K for starters. I think we all know this, but just in case, a K means 1,000. So that's $41,000. It says, what is the weekly salary based on this annual salary? So that's just saying, okay, so let's just stop for a second here. Days per year. We're not talking leap. 365 days. Leap year, 366. Okay, that's a whole nother topic on how fast the earth rotates. But anyhow, after days, we get to weeks. And weeks, there are 52 weeks in a year. Months, obviously, 12. And we could go lower. Quarters. Go quarters. There are 4. And then there's semi-annual, which is 6 months. And then if we go lower and break that down even further to hours, it'd be 365 times how many hours in a day and so on. Okay. But this question is asking, what is the weekly salary? So what you would do is this. I am a big fan of writing stuff out so that everything lines up and we have a unit of measurement. Okay. So if this is $41,000, so I'll put dollars per year, and I multiply that by, and I say 1 year is the same as 52 weeks. Okay, so the year and the year cancel. 41,000, so I get $41,000 divided by 52 weeks. So this would look like this. And I'll just say dollars instead of the symbol. Divided by 52 weeks. Okay, I was just showing where that came from. Okay, and then when I divide that, get my calculator. 41,000 divided by 52, and I get 788.46 and a change. So I'll make that an approximation. 700, what was it, 88.46. And that is dollars per week. Okay, so there's my answer, and that unit of measurement comes from here. So you don't want to just say $788. You want to say $788.46 per week. Okay, and that's their weekly salary. Okay. All right, check your understanding. Now it's your turn. Pause the video, see if you can do this. Karen found a job with an annual salary of $67,300.3K. What's her monthly pay rounded to the nearest dollar? So I'll write 67300. 0.3 is hundreds, so $67,300. Okay, and I'll put that over 1, and I'll multiply by $1 per year, by the way, per 1 year, right? Annual salary, $67,300 per 1 year times 1 year, 1 year per 12 months. See, it's monthly, 12 months. The 1 year cancels with the 1 year, and I get $67,300 divided by 12 months. Okay. 67,300 divided by 12 gives me 5,608.33. Per month. Okay, dollars per month is right here. That's where that came from. And this is the numbers divided. Okay. So that's what her, oh, and then it says, I always go back and read, round to the nearest dollar. So that is not the right answer. It's $5,608 per week because the 33 rounds down. All right. Okay, example 2 says Dylan took an applicant paid job. Applicant paid job. Let me go back. That's a fee paid. No, it's not. That is when the employer buys it, pays it. It's an applicant paid job. That's when you have to pay. Okay, so he took an applicant paid job through an employment agency. The job pays $395 per week. Dylan must pay a fee to the employment agency. The fee is 20% of his first 4 weeks of pay. How much money does Dylan pay the agency? Well, first we want to find out how much he makes in 4 weeks. So you take $395, that is 1 week's pay. Multiply that by 4, and I get 20. 9 times 4 is 36, and 2 is 38. 12 and 3 is 15. He will make $1,580 in 4 weeks. Okay, so how much must Dylan pay the agency? 20% of his first 4 weeks pay. So you just take $1,580 and multiply it by 20% as a decimal is 0.2. And that is going to give me 2 times 0 is 0. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry the 1. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. And there is 1 decimal place. So they will charge $316. Okay, so almost his entire first week's pay went to the fee. Okay, so now it's a check your understanding, and it says the Alpha Recruitment Agency is advertising a high-profile employer-paid job as vice president of an IT corporation. So the employer is paying this. Okay, the fee is 25% of the first month's pay. If the job pays X dollars annually, express the agency fee algebraically. Okay. So the fee is 25%, which is 0.25 times some amount. Okay. If the job pays X dollars annually and the fee is 25% of the first month's pay, then it's 25% of that amount, which is X dollars divided by 12. Okay, is this right? Let's think about this. Alpha Recruitment Agency, high profile employer paid job, vice president of an IT operations. The fee is 25% of the first month's pay. So let me just do this as an example. Let's just say it pays $100,000. And if I take that $100,000 and divide it by 12, that's a month's pay, right? There's 100,000 divided by 12, and it's going to be $8,333.33. Okay, so this is the amount in 1 month if you make $100,000 a year. So if I take 25% of this amount now, I multiply that by 0.25, then I get, so this is times 0.25, 25%, I got $2,083.33. Okay, so it's not 25% of 100,000, that'd be $25,000. It's 25% of 1/12 of that. Okay, so my equation is going to be, what does it say? Express the agency fee algebraically. So I would say it is this. Okay, the book does not say this, and that's why I did this example. The book said 0.25x. It's not 0.25x. If x is the annual pay and they're only going to take the first month, then that's a 12th of that x. Okay, so the answer is 0.25x over 12. Okay, example 3 says, Ken is a mechanic who owns Ace Auto Repair. He needs a foreign car expert and is placing a 12-line ad on jobsorelse.com. The cost of an ad X lines long is given by the following piecewise function. So C of X equals $56 when the number of lines is 4 or less. Okay. If you go over 4 lines, each additional line is going to cost $6 more, and this is how you write that. So it says find the cost of a 12-line ad. So let me explain that. So if I have, let's do it up here first. If I have a 1 here, if X is 1, then that's less than 4, so it's $56. Okay. If I changed X to 2, 2 is less than or equal to 4, so it's just $56. If I change that line and I write one that's 3 lines long, then 3 is less than or equal to 4, so it's still $56. I write a 4-line ad, I submit it, and they're like, okay, 4 is equal to 4, so it's $56. But then here's what's going to change. When I get above 4, and that's a 5, then we're going to use the bottom equation. So C of 5 is going to equal this bottom equation because 5 is more than 4. And it's going to be 56 plus 6 times 5 minus 4. And remembering your order of operations, you do parentheses first. So I just bring down this 56 plus 6, and 5 minus 4 is 1. And 56 plus 6 times 1, well, 6 times 1 is 6, and 56 plus 6 is $62. So a 5-line ad would be $62. Okay, so now what they want us to do is answer the question for a 12-line ad. So all I'm going to do is change the X's. So I want C of 12. And so I'll put a 12 here because that was where the X was. And now I'm going to do the parentheses first. 12 minus 4 is 8. 56 plus 6 times 8 is 48. And 8 plus 6 is 14, carried the 1, and 5 and 5 is 10. So it would cost $104 to write a 12-line ad. Okay, now check your understanding. It says a plumber's trade print publication charges $13 for each of the first 4 lines. Okay, careful there. Each of the first 4 lines. That means one line's 13, line 2 is 13, line 3 is 13, line 4 is 13. Add that all up, and that is $52. Okay, and then $7.50 for each additional line. So I have a piecewise function again. So let me just show this up here to model it. So I would say C of X equals, and I have a scenario here where it's 13 times the number of lines if X is less than or equal to 4. Okay. So if it's 1 line, 13 times 1 is $13. 13 times 2 is 26. 13 times 3, and so on, all the way up to 4. But then when X gets greater than 4, they're going to add $7.50 for each additional line. So now this is going to be 13X plus. Okay, and then what we're going to do is I want this to be 1 more. It's going to be $7.50. And let me just move this over a little bit. I put them too close. Okay, so 13X plus 750 times, and I don't want to just put X here, because if X is 12, okay, that's not an additional line. It's got to be greater than 5. So it's going to be X minus that value, which is 4, the number of lines. So 5 is 1 more than 4. So if I put a 5 here, 5 minus 4 is 1, and you're paying for that one line. So it's going to be x minus the number of lines. This value over here is going to go here. Okay, so now it's 13x plus 750 times x minus 4. And there's the formula for this scenario. All right, and now we're going on to extend your understanding. And it says, if the publication from the check your understanding above wanted the price of their per line charge for the first 4 lines to be k, what would change in the piecewise function? So now it would be c of x equals k, let me put this, k times x, where x is less than or equal to 4. And this would be kx plus 750 times x minus 4 when x is greater than 4. Okay, so 13x would just simply become kx. They didn't give the dollar amount. That's all we're changing here is this 13 to a k. All righty. Okay, example 4. An online job search site charges employers fees to post job listings. Their price list is shown in the table right here. The prices per posting decreases as the number of postings increase. So one post is $395, but if the company posts 2, then it'd be $385 each, saving $10 for each. So they're actually saving $10 if they post 2, they save $20 if they post 3, and so on. Okay, so the prices per posting decrease as the number of postings increase. What is the percent savings? Keyword there. Okay, right there. What is the percent savings if an employer decides to post 4 jobs as opposed to 1 job? So 1 job is $395 each, 4 jobs is $350. So how are we going to do that? Well, what is the difference first? So the first thing I'm going to do is say, well, $395. If I only post 1, that's what it'll cost me. But if I post 4, they're going to be $350 each, which is a savings of $45 if I post 4. Okay, so the difference is 45, but that is not the percent savings. So in order to find the percent savings, we use a percent discount equation, which is the original price minus the discount price divided by the original price. So that's all we have to do is substitute these in. The original price was $395. There's no pennies here, so I'm not going to worry about 0.00 over and over. And the discount price was $350. So you take $395 minus $350 divided by the original price. In other words, the difference between the two, which we've already found to be $45, divided by $395. So I put that in my calculator. 45 divided by $395. And that is 0.1139. Okay. It doesn't say where to round, so I'll just say approximately 11% savings. Okay, and that's the answer to this problem. All right, check your understanding. Job Find charges employers X dollars to post a job on their website. They offer a 16% discount if 20 or more jobs are posted. If 31 jobs are posted by a specific employer, express the cost of the 31 postings algebraically. So pause the video, see if you can do this, and come back and see how you did. Okay, so this is not asking for a percent of savings. It's just asking, whoops, what did I just do? I hit next page instead of extend page. All right, it's asking what is the cost, not the percent. So they offer a 16% discount, 20 or more jobs. and 31 is 20 or more. Okay, so for starters, X dollars to post a job on their site, 16% discount. So what you have to ask yourself is, if there is 100% no discount and they offer a 16% discount, then we are paying 84% of the total. That makes sense? We're paying 84% of that if they're giving us a 16% discount. So do we use this to answer this question? So Job Find charges employers X dollars to post on their site. They offer 16% discount for 20 or more jobs. Okay. So in this case, it's 31 jobs. So it's going to be 31 times the percent we're going to pay, which is 0.84 as a decimal. 31 times 0.84x. Okay, I forgot my x. X is the number of dollars. So it's 84% of the total price times 31. So there's our equation. Okay. 31 times 0.84. Now I could also multiply that. What is 31 times 0.84? 31 times 0.84 equals 26.04. So I also could have done it this way, 26.04x. Okay, these two are equivalent. Either one is a correct answer. Okay, example 5 says Jane's printing service charges $29.95 to print 200 high-quality business cards. Each additional set of 100 cards costs $14. Express the cost R of X of printing X sets of $100 as a piecewise function, 100 cards. Okay, so I can't buy 25 cards. I can't buy 50 cards. I can't buy 89 cards. I have to buy lots of 100. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, there's our R of X is what they're giving us. So we say R of X equals, and then it's piecewise. So we draw this little bracket, and there's going to be a couple of different scenarios. So it charges $29.95 to print 200 high quality business cards. Each additional set costs $14. So there's a setup fee when you do these things. So if I buy one set is 100 cards. Whoops, not 1,000, 100. Got carried away with my zeros. Okay, 2 sets equals 200 cards. I can't buy any other way but lots of 100. So the price is $29.95. And that only happens when X is an integer. So X has to be an integer. Okay, and 200 is 2 sets. So if X is less than or equal to 2, in other words, 1 or 2, or 0 actually, well, 0, you aren't going to pay $29.50 for nothing. So if I buy 100 cards, that is 1 set. So X would be 1 set, that's less than 2, it's going to cost $29.50. If X is 2, 2 equals 2, 2 sets of 200 would be $29.50. Okay, so actually there'd be no reason to buy 100 if you're going to buy 100 for $29.95 and you get 200 for $29.95. Who wouldn't get the 200? And it'd be like buying 100 and getting 100 free. Okay, but what you have to say when X is an integer, because if X is 1.5, that is not an integer. And 1.5 is less than 2, but 1.5 is 150 cards and they only sell them in sets of 100, so I can't even do it. And that's why we have to say when X is an integer. So I'm going to repeat that here. When X is an integer. Okay. And now it's going to be obviously X is greater than 2. And now we're going to have a scenario. And I put the wrong price up here. I just noticed it's $29.95. That's messy. Let me just erase the whole thing. $29.95 is what I should have written here. 2995 right there. Okay. And then the extra sets are going to be 14. So this will be 29.95 plus 14 times, and I did it again, I didn't leave enough room. And remember, X is 2, so I would write X minus those first 2. 3 would be over 2, 1 additional. So 29.95 plus 14 times X minus 2 when X is an integer greater than 2. So if X is 3, 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 extra set's $14. 29.95 plus 14 would be $43.95, and so on and so on. Okay, now try your check your understanding. Pause the video, see if you can do this, and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so now it says an online bargain print service charges P dollars for the first 200 business cards and X dollars for each set of 100 above the first 200. Express the cost of the cards algebraically as a piecewise function. Okay. Okay, so let's see. They didn't give us a letter to use. I'll just use R of X again. I don't care. R of X equals piecewise function, and it charges P dollars. Okay, P dollars for the first 200 business cards. And I would say when P is an integer, not P, X, it's still X. P is the number of dollars, X is the number of business cards. When P is an integer, for the first 200 is when, let's just call it Y greater than, less than or equal to 2. And then Y greater than 2. And when Y is an integer. All right, and I'm going to change this X to Y right here. And I'll explain that in a second. Okay, now I'm going to go on, and it says, and X dollars for each set of 100 above the first 200. So it would be X dollars for each set of 100 above the first 200. Okay, so that would be X dollars. This is really strange how they're wording this. Let me think about this a second. Okay, so P dollars is our flat rate. That's like our $29.95. So I'm going to put a P here. Plus X dollars times, and since I used Y, I'm going to just say Y minus 2 here. So if Y is 3, 3 minus 2 is 1, it'd be P plus X. So P dollars for the setup, X dollars for the additional 100. Okay, so this is what it should look like here. All right, write an algebraic expression for the unit cost of P business cards and check your understanding above. Okay, write an algebraic expression for the unit cost. Unit meaning 1 in math. In other words, what does 1 business card cost? So it's whatever the price divided by 200 cards in the minimum unit amount of 200 business cards for P dollars. So it'd just simply be P divided by 200. And that would give us the price of 1 business card.